Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia, and we have a massive update from DC Entertainment. Well, we should have known something like this was coming. We know the Discovery-Warner Brothers merger is happening as we speak, and it shouldn't surprise anybody that an announcement today seems to indicate that Warner Brothers is going to massively overhaul the mess that's known as DC Entertainment. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about what Variety reported earlier today and the impact it could have on our favorite DC superheroes. Things are going to change, and it's still unclear how. Now, before we dive into this though, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. Also, our massive giveaway. We're going to give away this Oculus Quest 2 at 50,000 subscribers. All you need to do to get in on our giveaway is be a subscriber and leave us a comment. Also, while you're at it, make sure you check out that free Week of Skills share down below. It's a pretty cool way for you to develop your superhero skills from that never-ending war on crime, all while not diving too deep into your pockets. Plus, it really does help the channel, so we really appreciate it. Well, quite honestly, I've been expecting this news story ever since this merger was announced, and now it appears Variety has brought us a massive update. Now, as many of you know, it's been less than a week since the deal for Discovery to take over Warner Media. They actually paid $43 billion, and now it's become one of the biggest entertainment companies ever. Now, after this merger, David Zaslav, the CEO of the combined companies, has made it pretty clear that they've been toying with the idea of turning DC into what Variety is calling its own solidified content vertical. Now, Variety is saying they are getting from multiple sources that this move would potentially affect DC future films that are currently in development, streaming at Warner Brothers TV, and the creative arm of actual DC proper. And this will basically be an effort to align all these things together in a very similar way Marvel Studios did when they made Kevin Feige king of all things Marvel. Now, apparently, before the merger even closed, Zaslav vetted multiple candidates in creating and nurturing this particular intellectual property, with the overall goal to find someone that would serve as a creative and, more importantly, a strategic czar for DC films, very similar to what Kevin Feige does for Marvel. Apparently, one of those candidates was Emma Watts, a former film executive at 20th Century and Paramount, but apparently she didn't take the job. One of Variety's insiders, though, did suggest that Zaslav was less interested in finding a creative guru and more interested in hiring someone who had the type of business background that is required to keep all these different factions of DC working in sync and harmony. This is probably a pretty good idea. Now, the article goes on to say that Zaslav believes that the success of the merger will rest on no small part of unlocking the full potential of DC's comics universe of characters. As a comic book fan, this should be big news because what it means is they intend on making this the forefront, their moneymaker, and they absolutely want to turn it into the juggernaut that Marvel Studios has. Now, apparently, Discovery insiders believe that although DC has achieved a high level of cinematic success, especially with films recently like Aquaman and The Batman, it absolutely lacks coherent creative and brand strategy. And quite honestly, I tend to agree with that. Now, this is something that will make many fans happy, because apparently the team at Discovery believes that several top-shelf characters, like Superman, have been left to languish and need to be revitalized. The article also went on to say that projects like Todd Phillips' Joker are a great example of how second-build characters from the DC library can be exploited and turn profitable. Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn was another opportunity, but let's be real, it absolutely didn't make the money people wanted. I actually think probably the better example would be Peacemaker, which was massive on HBO Max and a huge hit for James Gunn. I believe this is exactly what they're looking to develop. Now, what this means for people like Walter Hamada or the Snyderverse movement is completely unclear at this moment. I have to be honest with you guys, if this is Zaslav's move, I suspect he will draw a firm line in the sand and move everything forward from there. I don't expect any backtracking, but they could bring back some cast members or use some, as they said, let languish, like Henry Cavill's Superman, but I'm unsure of how this new executive base will respond, and quite honestly, creatives like to do their own thing, and it would not surprise me if they cut lots of the DC properties loose and rebooted most of it. Honestly, we're going to have to wait a little time to see what happens. I think whoever they pick for this particular leadership position is going to be hugely important, and we really won't have any ideas on what their intended plans are until we know who this manager turns out to be. But until then, I gotta know what you guys think. What do you think of the new Warner Discovery revitalizing everything that's DC and returning a lot of characters that have been let sit on the shelf? And do you believe this is a positive or a negative for the Snyderverse movement? Quite honestly, I don't see him going backwards, but I could totally be wrong. Sound off in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you're not going to get any updates. Peace.